video. In this one I want to discuss heel defense. It's a topic I get asked a lot of questions about. I've been showing it at a lot of my recent seminars, and it's also something I've been using in competitions a lot recently. So I want to focus today on the cross Ashi position. That's probably the most popular one people are using nowadays. So we'll look at the main concept of defending, and we'll also look at some things we can do against people that are a little bit better at it. So if you go against a white belt that does cross Ashi, of course you can use simple things to counter it, but then we're also going to look at somebody that's going to go into countering or counters. So let's just start at the basic cross Ashi. Mikey goes for a heel here. I need to make sure my heel turns into his ribs. So this is best if I can prevent it, but also when he already has a grip on the heel, I can kick my leg through and turn my heel into his ribs. So if I turn my knee in, so my knee goes this way as my heel turns into his ribs. From here I can start pushing on his knee, build some base, kick on his hamstring, and get out. So that's the basic defense. Let's take a look at that from the other angle. Mikey goes for a heel. So you guys can see what I'm doing with my hands and my feet. He goes for the hook, I kick through, I post on his knee, build my base, my foot goes on his hamstring, and now if I don't want to engage, I can just pull out. If I do want to engage, I can come back in. Start attacking with my own heel work. That's the basic idea for a heel work from cross Ashi. Alright, so now people of course are going to develop some counters to that. One of the basic counters we've been seeing the last few years is grabbing the second foot. So if Mikey sits down here, he grabs my second foot here. If he like a foot up, there we go. Now I can turn out. It's going to be impossible. But also Mikey doesn't have a heel from here. So his idea is attacking kind of like a foot lock on the leg. As I pull my leg out to defend, he will go into a heel. That's the idea. Very smart idea. So as long as he holds the second leg, it can turn out. But there's always going to be the transition. So as soon as Mikey lets go of the leg, there's still that moment for me to move out, get my foot on the hamstring, and get my leg up. Again, we're going to use the exact same escape, except now we're going to do it with a little bit of timing. So before we could just turn as soon as we wanted to, now we have to wait until Mikey switches. So as soon as he lets go of the foot and he tries to go for it, I turn. There's always going to be that transition. Even when Mikey puts my foot on, let's say his shoulder for example, here, it's still going to be the same thing. As he goes, I turn. He always needs those two hands to control the heel. Even when it goes to the other side, Mikey tries to catch it, I keep it hidden. As he switches his hand, I start turning out, move down. Exact same escape as before. Right. So this is one solution, controlling the secondary leg, the double trouble idea. Another solution people have found is the so-called tombstone grip, or the center chest position. If Mikey lies down, maybe I keep my leg out of reach so Mikey can't get it. Another thing Mikey will do is he will pin my foot to his chest. There, this idea. So now I also can turn out. This is very hard for me to get out. I want to do the same escape, but if I do that, I actually injure myself. I put myself into a knee bar. So here we use the same exact strategy. We wait. As Mikey makes a transition, I will turn out, start kicking the hamstring, and get out of the situation. One more time. Here, Mikey pins my foot to his chest, and if I try to turn out here, I'm actually breaking my own knee. I've actually injured some of my training partners with this movement because they think they still need to turn out, but this move blocks that and actually injures you if you turn it out of it. As Mikey makes a transition, that's where I will go and do my exact same escape as before. So both with the double trouble and the center chest position, we just wait for them to make the transition, and that's our timing to go. So same exact principles, we turn out, we hide our heel, but we have to wait until we can do that. Otherwise, we either get stuck or we get injured by a knee bar. The third way I want to look at is one I like to use a lot in competition. And another solution to the problem is spinning with the movement. So let's say I got Mikey in a cross Ashi here. I try to go for the heel, Mikey tries to turn out, and I just spin after him, and I can catch the heel. Somebody that's good with leg hooks will always try to do the spin. They can spin on their head, they can do kind of an inversion, but the idea is they will spin after you as you try to turn out of the heel hook. So this is one of my favorite moves. I've hit it a few times in competition already. I did it recently in Athens at a super fight event where I moved straight into my favorite heel position, the 50-50. So let's take a look at that position. Mikey has a close Ashi. I turn out here. Yes. Alright, so let's take a look at that position. Mikey has a cross Ashi. Here, he tries to go for the heel. I hide my heel, I spin, Mikey will spin after the heel. I pose my hand and now I switch hands. So I'll show you from a different angle in just a bit. I push his legs down, step open as we spin through. I pull his leg into my chest and I'm in 50-50, my favorite heel position. Let's take a look at that again from a different angle. I hide my heel, Mikey follows. Look, I pose my hand and now my other hand comes free. I push on both of his legs to open and I sit forward. If I don't sit forward, Mikey can get his leg out and he can play whatever position he wants to. But I want to sit forward, forcing him into a 50-50. One more time. Let's look at it from the other side. Here. Cross Ashi, I hide, Mikey follows. I pose my hands, I push down on the legs as I step open, come forward, and I can immediately go into my counter heel. That's my favorite solution. Another solution to the spin through problem is just to keep spinning with them, keep creating space, and then getting out of the situation. If you don't want to engage with the person in a leg lock battle, maybe they're very good at leg locks, you would just spin and get out. So let's take a look at that one as well. So this is a counter to the same problem. If somebody spins after your heel, you either go to 50-50, what I like to do, or you spin out and just disengage. Back a little bit. So here, Mikey chases the heel. As we spin, I keep spinning, and every time I spin, it's going to be a little bit more space for me to move my leg out. Every movement is going to create a little bit more space. Just think about trying to break a stick. Every time you move it, it's going to be a little bit more space and it's easier to get it, to break it. Same thing here. Every time we move, there's going to be a little bit more space when we get out of there. So 3 ways people solve the basic escape. They can control both of your legs, they can control the leg on their chest, or they can spin with you, and 3 counts to that. Let's take a look at some of my competition footage to see how I do this in practice.
Alright, now let's take a look at some competition footage. The first one is from one of my matches in Grappling Industries Berlin. This was up against a good leg locker. He uses a tombstone grip. As he switches off, I turn out and I put him in the 50-50 position. From there I try to do my own attacks, but he managed to get his foot in, exposes the hamstring, and he neutralizes it again. So he does his entry, very nice entry into the cross Ashi, and he uses a tombstone grip. Look why I don't turn right now. I just go with the motion, I let him pull it in, and as he makes a transition, now I start turning. From here, I need to clear the leg. So look, I use my hands, and then I turn, putting him into that 50-50 position. One more time, let's take a look at the transition. As I turn, I use my hands to clear off the feet of my legs, hiding the heel, and there we spin through into 50-50. Same transition here. My opponent is trying to get that cross Ashi entry. I spin through, clearing the legs, and there I get my own counter heel from the 50-50. Let's take a look at that in slow motion. I keep turning with the heel hook, use my hands to monitor the legs, and now we end up in the 50-50, and as the camera switches, he exposes his heel and I get the tap. One more time, use the hands to monitor, sit through, and there, as he tries to attack his own heel hook, he opens up his legs, giving me his heel for a quick tap. Now the next two are just me defending, so I don't go into a counter. Here I'm just escaping the heel hooks. First one, you can see this is a bit of older footage because I don't do the escape as well as I could. I should have used my left foot to post on the hamstring, but just spinning out with the motion does the job here. And the opponent lets go. One more time, he's attacking that Texas cloverleaf. As he lets go, I time it and I start spinning out. Again, not the perfect spin because I don't get any hamstring exposure, I don't kick him away, but good enough to escape. Right, last one is not the perfect images because the camera cut out halfway through the match, but here I do a very similar thing. I try to escape, but what Mr. Diggle does really well is he holds on to my foot, so I can't escape as strongly, and from here unfortunately the camera cuts out. If you have any footage of that match where the camera didn't cut out, please send it to me because I would love to see that. Alright, so there we go. Some very important concepts to defend leg locks and how to use them in practice.